for me, it's the best there is because there's not. It's he wants to do things practically, and that's what I all the ideas and things that I sometimes try and want to do on other films, where they're very quick to try to figure out a CGI or a visual effects solution. He's the opposite. He wants to push and figure out how to do things practically, and so. It couldn't really be. I mean, it's kind of ideal, I think, for both of us because we become one department on these movies, and we work together and figure out how to divide and conquer.
And even though I come from a visual effects world, I also started in practical effects and special effects. So, and my approach to all visual effects is always what can we film and what can be practical. So, as Scott was saying, we're both very much on the same page anyway, and that is the same page as Chris Nolan. So, it's a really, and he's a very collaborative director. He wants us to experiment and bring ideas to him, and then we'll discuss them and develop the ones further that work. So, it's a really worthwhile and rewarding process of feeling really very engaged in the filmmaking rather than just being, given a particular task and you go away and do it. It's very kind of collaborative, I guess is the best word.
Because doing so many of the other films with Chris, we knew that we were going to have to kind of figure out a way to do it on the largest scale we could, and also knowing that we're going to be out in the middle of the desert and we're going to have a lot of leeway to do huge explosions and things like that. So we definitely felt we just had to push it as far as we could with what we could do,
Leaned into the huge explosion
Yeah.
component.
Yes.
So, we kind of knew that would, like right from the start, didn't we? That was going to be the answer, is to make the actual explosion as big as we feasibly could, and then enhance that with slowing it down, which makes it feel much bigger, and then layering up additional components.
A final question. For Scott, you're working on, we saw in the documentary, you're working together, creating these effects in camera. Were there any instances where you kind of had to sacrifice accuracy or other considerations for the sake of wanting that movie magic?
I don't think so. I mean, I think, I think when we were out in the desert, you feel like, you always looking right. We could have, if we had more time, maybe we could have done a bigger explosion, or we could have done, things like that. But it's always tweaks. Chris is so decisive. He knows what he needs when he sees it, and you kind of move on. So sometimes you're caught with that. Oh, we could do it once more, a little better. But if he's happy, then we're happy.